Welcome to the Breakin Broncos podcast. I am your host, Dan Wetstein, and as always, I am here with my co-host, Dylan Miles. So you will get another voice besides me, as y'all have been stuck over the weekend with just me as my other co-host. We're not here, but I did get Dylan here today.
Okay,
Second
both
voice.
of them? Both of them?
Both of them dipped on me. No.
Okay, Callie and Amato. Okay.
Right? How dare you have some other kind of a life? How dare
you be an EMT?
Right. How dare you be an EMT in Amato? How dare you go to your grandma's birthday? How dare
you? See, that's inexcusable. Your grandma's birthday.
Right. Your grandma's birthday? No, just kidding. I'm glad that you got to spend some time with Abuela there. Santiago and Callie, we know that you're busy. We're all good, but we are here. You got two people. We have somebody in here leaving comments. Of course it is. Nika, we appreciate you.
I've been here.
Outside of 1 week,
Except for the 1 week I forgot our new time.
Right, he forgot our new time.
I got on and the stream was ended.
At least you didn't sleep through like Santiago did once. He straight slept all the way through one of our lives. And he wakes
there was
up
one
after
time
I'm done, and he's like, "Hey, bro, we still on?" I'm like, "Dude, it's over." He looks at the clock like, "Oh man, I didn't set an alarm." Like, yeah, dude, maybe try and do that.
There was one time where I almost slept through a show, but it was a good reason. I did end up texting you because it was that day where I was just dying all week.
Yes. Sick as
it's like, bro, this isn't happening.
It's all good though. So again, not just me today, but we are here to talk Broncos. Unfortunately, they didn't win and bailed out. No parachute, splat on the ground against the Jets. Was this offense really any better with Rippin?
Sadly, it kind of looked a little better, like moving the ball wise. Specifically, I want to get into the air game, passing game. Honestly, I think this might have been one of the better passing games that the Broncos have had. It's nothing against Russ, obviously, because the game plan is obviously differently when it's built around Russ, and it was definitely fit more for Rippin's comfort, which was we're gonna go more run heavy, and then we're gonna air it out when he's comfortable. That's what it looked like to me. I'm not sure how you saw it, but pretty much overall the same. But passing looked just a little bit better.
It looked better than it had the last couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing is, I think people are forgetting that Russell Wilson was third to fourth in passing up until the second quarter against the Raiders. That injury, I know people are probably tired of hearing about it, like, oh, you're giving him excuses, blah, blah, blah. It is legitimate. This is our injuries to his throwing shoulder. It's not like he's got a pinky issue on his non-throwing shoulder and he's not showing up. Now, these are serious issues that create problems for any human. And again, this man is human. Russell Wilson is human. I know he acts a little robotic at times, and he's a little bit corny and all.
That's
those
his personality. I hate when people dog on him for a personality.
Yeah. Same here.
You don't see people trash talking.
It doesn't make him any less human. Like that's the thing is like some people look at him as less than human just because of the sometimes robotic nature of him and the way he talks and the way he acts. But that's why I've harped on this so much, and I've essentially screamed at you guys like, just chill. It's not all Russ's fault, and there's some things that he can't fix. He can't make his body heal any faster. He can't repair the lat. He can't repair the hamstring just by wishing it to happen. He's a human who has to heal. So I do believe that, yes, it looked better than it did at times.
That was the point I think I was trying to get to was the past couple of weeks.
Yes.
Because before that, definitely Russ was – obviously, I think the offense was a lot better before that injury.
Yeah,
granted, you can say that before. They were moving the ball. And that's what it looked like.
Moving it up and down the field, it was scoring touchdowns once they got in the red zone.
Right, and it was more. I definitely didn't word that right. It was more looking like the earlier stages of the offense of the Broncos, which was arguably better than the past couple of weeks because they were able to move the ball, still weren't able to score when it mattered.
Right.
I think I wanted to bring up
terrible.
Right. And we were
outside of Mike Boone, they averaged 3 yards per carry.
And then moving Mike Boone just hurts, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll be getting into that as well.
I want to bring up the point. It was when we were talking before the show, when we brought up Trevor Siemian with his shoulder or injury that he had.
Yeah, his third-degree separation, 2016.
And because he was, I'm not saying he was looking like the greatest quarterback in the world before that, but he was playing pretty damn good. Like for a first-time starter, second-year quarterback.
Yeah, and to put a case in point of like how good he was doing. Again, yes, it was the ghost of Peyton Manning in 2015, but Trevor Siemian almost doubled just about every major category from Peyton to him in that 1 year stretch. Again, I'm not trying
that was ghost of Peyton plus
ever.
injury.
We're not trying to say Trevor Siemian's the best. We're just saying that he was showing that with the right pieces around him at the time, he had Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders,
and I think
Julius
most importantly,
Thomas,
he didn't have Julius. He had Julius wasn't there for that Super Bowl. Who did he have that year? Because Owen Daniels retired after the Super Bowl. Oh, he had Virgil. So when Virgil Green was on the team.
That's right, yeah.
But what I was thinking was also he had Gary Kubiak, and that was Gary Kubiak's guy.
Yeah.
Like that was who they picked to draft that year before.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're gonna be honest, Trevor Siemian's best year was with Gary Kubiak, and you saw when they hired Vance. That's a name I haven't said in a long time. Vance Joseph is where you saw Siemian start to fall off.
Yep.
That's where you go from an offensive-minded Super Bowl win, two-time offensive coordinator, Super Bowl winning champion, one-time head coach, so three in total.
3 total.
Offensive-minded coach, going back to a defensive-minded coach. And, I think, honestly, the defenses look great yesterday.
As it has, yes.
As it has. But, the defense the past couple of seasons was good, but those were a shell of themselves before now.
Right.
I was sorry, I kind of went off topic, but it was bringing up the offensive-minded coach, honestly, has been better for the Broncos so far because you bring in one guy, let him run the defense, and then you focus the rest of the shift on the offense. But we just haven't been seeing that. We just haven't been seeing it.
Yeah, and the calls for Hackett to be fired, I do believe, are way too premature. Because now everybody's
I'd give him until closer to end.
They looked bad with Rippon, so it's obviously Nathaniel Hackett's fault.
Right.
Is it Nathaniel Hackett's fault that Brett Rippon overthrew 4 wide receivers that had a touchdown, that they had at least a step on their guy, and he either overthrew him, underthrew him, was inaccurate? How is all of that Hackett's fault? Like, everybody just wants to take this anecdotal evidence, the things they see or they feel, and don't ever actually want to dive into the tape or dive into the stats and find the truth. And
I hate people that talk about stuff like this. I hate when people call for people's jobs when they don't look into anything.
Exactly.
Where's your proof?
No research.
No research. I mean, I'm not saying we're any football experts by any means, right? What, you didn't? None of us played past high school. I didn't play to begin with.
I mean, there's
but then you have those guys you go
on that, like, you don't have to have played professional ball
to be
an expert on professional ball.
Oh no, definitely. The point is, I just hate when you see it's just. But we research.
We do the research.
We do the research. Yes. That's our difference between people throwing comments on a Broncos post, which you can't even open those comments anymore. And you can see the diehards in there. You know who the diehards are when you look at those comments. You can see who the bandwagons are.
Yes. And again, I don't want to group all the people that complain about the Broncos in the bandwagoner thing, because yes, you have every right. Like, don't get it.
Oh, I'm not saying they're all bandwagoners complaining.
Right, no,
but you can tell.
This real quick. I just want to say, we're not trying to say you can't criticize this team. That's okay. You can criticize the team all you want, as long as you're doing it with some type of just common sense behind it. Like, don't just say
knowledge.
Yeah, some knowledge. Like, don't just be like, Russell Wilson sucks. Be like, Russell Wilson sucks because, and then give some reasoning. And then we can have a conversation.
Oh, I can
if
make points about that.
Sit out here and scream that people suck with nothing to back it up, then please sit down.
And you know what I hate is when you see professional like analysts out there in the field giving without
the worst.
I can see the pros and the cons, right? Most analysts see pros and the cons, and then there's the select few who just see cons. There was who was I watching? But when you watch these analysts who happen to be former players, I tend to listen to them a bit more when it comes to critique.
The X's and O's, yes.
Yep. When it comes to critique of the X's and O's, I'm not saying overall, but when you have a former player who becomes an analyst who knows what's going on in that locker room, obviously they know a lot more than just a normal analyst who has never been in an NFL locker room. Because I was listening to Richard Sherman, and he made a few good points. I won't lie about.
Yes, Richard has his moments,
and like when he actually speaks. Like when he's just talking straight football, he is fun to listen to.
Yeah.
And he made a few good points about why Russ he has the team, like he's leading this team, but not really at the same time. He just feels like he doesn't have the locker room all the way down yet. He's still earning respect, which I think is true. I don't think he's earned the complete locker room's respect by just showing up. You need to put up results to gain some respect, I think. He's still the leader of that locker room, though. There's still, without a doubt, the leader in that locker room.
Yeah, I'll take that particular comment with a grain of salt because I don't know how much
exactly
Richard Sherman has actually been in this Broncos locker room. Now, when he wants to talk about the Seahawks locker room, when he was there, things of that nature, I'll listen. And yes, his analysis is fine. It's when he gets into his opinions that he gets on my nerves. But that's neither here nor there.
The only reason I talked about it because it was actual analysis, not opinionated.
Right. So I think we can both kind of agree that the passing game is okay. It can take another level once the Broncos have a quarterback that has timing with his receivers and is not either injured or inaccurate.
Mm-hmm.
With this is a precision offense, ladies and gentlemen. One little thing is like Dylan was talking about it before we got on here when he got knocked off the air. And he found out that the reason he got knocked off
a stupid cord got unplugged.
One stupid cord because he was using precision instruments in his profession. And when you're using precision instruments, it only takes one little wire, one little bolt, something. It's always the smallest little thing that goes wrong that can set off the entire situation.
And I think that's kind of what's going on. Like, not completely. It's not like we've blown it up yet, right?
No.
But you can tell it's the tension. The tension is just building week by week. And you can definitely tell watching interviews post-game. I mean, a good example was the Melvin Gordon one last week. You can tell he's not happy with it, which I don't care if he's happy there or not, blatantly. But then when you start seeing guys like KJ start speaking out, the more respected guys in the locker room, the guys who usually don't speak out as much, about the problems, you can tell when things are going on.
And the biggest thing about that, when KJ was talking, it was about what the team can do to get better, what he can do to help the team, what needs to be done by individuals holding each other accountable. When Gordon was talking about it, I don't know, why'd they not talk to me? I didn't get a play, whatever. I could have done something.
Two examples of what
KJ talk about. I could have made a difference if you'd have just did this to me more. If you'd have just thrown it to me more, or given me more plays or more routes or whatever. That's the difference. The biggest difference between a leader and just a guy. Melvin Gordon is just a guy that is there to pick up a paycheck. KJ Hamler is looking to be a leader on this team.
This is KJ's third season.
More KJ's, less Melvin's.
This is
But while we're talking about Melvin, and we've talked enough about the passing game, how do we fix this run game?
Oh, that's tough, dude. With Javonte going down, my condolences for your fantasy team. Hey, you got to give my condolences, dude. I lost Breece Hall.
I've won every game since then in one league. So, I mean, hey.
Dude, I lost Breece Hall today. I'm a little bummed. He's been getting points.
Are.
Hey, but I got Swift. I got Swift back, though. So.
Hey, there you go. Maybe it'll offset it.
I don't think it will. Brees Hall was just giving me 30 points a game, man.
Yeah.
But
I gotta find I'm hoping Jimmy Garoppolo helps me out because I had to replace
good luck.
Matt Ryan and Baker Mayfield. So
yeah, replace both.
And that was after
I forgot you had Lance. Both of those on your teams.
Yeah, and those were my replacements for Trey Lance. So I am now on my 4th quarterback of the season already.
You know, dude, I think this week I might be throwing Kirk in.
I don't blame. That's a pretty good matchup. But back to the running game.
Yeah.
I got us off track that time.
No, you're fine. Russ, oh God damn it, man. I'm sorry. I'm just sad. But you know, the running game, it's tough. You know, Javonte going down hurt the most. Melvin being just whining about not getting touches when you've been fumbling the ball, which granted, he's been holding on to that ball pretty well since, but he's not putting up yards. You can tell he's just not been putting up yards. You see it in the stats. But Mike Boone was a shining star until he went down. Like I was like, there's your answer. We've been saying it. There's your answer. People finally start to take notice, and he gets hurt.
Yeah.
Latavius Murray's been a nice. I'm not saying he's just a Javonte Williams 2.0, but he's been nice to have on the roster for depth. But he also can move the ball.
Added the big, nasty, big back aspect that they lost with Javonte. Yes.
And the difference is he can move the ball like Javonte. Sure, he's not going to break as many tackles and carry guys down the field, but he can put up 4 to 5 yards a carry.
He's human.
And
People don't realize how big Latavius is.
When you watch him on TV, you can't tell.
He's almost the same size as Derrick Henry. He's like only a couple of pounds lighter than Derrick Henry. He is huge.
It's like a good example with like comparison. My mom and dad, when they met Jamal Murray in Vegas, it was like when you see him on the TV, right? Like, sure, they say his height, but it isn't like that tall until you stand next to him. That's what it is with Latavius Murray. When I saw him stand on the sideline next to Melvin, it made Melvin look like a child.
And Melvin's no small human.
Melvin's not a small guy. Yeah,
he's an easy 6 foot. Melvin Gordon is.
Right.
He's an easy 6 foot, like 215, 220. Latavius Murray's like 6'3", 240. That cat is huge. And he still runs really well. Like I think he had a better 40 coming out of college than Javonte did.
I think he did.
Yeah.
I mean, when he was coming out of college, he was a hot prospect. Like, and watching him when he was on those Ravens teams for those few years, he was the guy to be reckoned with. Until, average.
Oh, goodness, yes. He ran a 4.38. My good, at 240. Cat ran a 4.3.
240.
I knew it was like somewhere, I thought it was like somewhere more like 4.45 or somewhere.
And that's like that's now like the average like running back build. That used to be a fullback build. Yeah, those were fullbacks.
Exactly 6'2" and 5'8". So I was 3/8 of an inch off on his height, and he weighed 223 pounds at the combine. So he's put on at least 15 to 20 pounds since he's been in the league.
You can see it, and it looks
6 or 7 years out of Central Florida. So
I think Latavius can pick up a bit more. I mean, obviously, it's just been a couple of weeks with the team. He's played 2 games with the team. And I really think once he starts to learn the system, get it down more, and even though the offensive line's beat up, that's not going to matter to Latavius. I mean, it doesn't matter what's in front of him. He's going to try and run through it. Sure, he'll get brought down every once in a while, but there's quite a few times he'll break through 2-3 guys to get where he needs to go.
Yeah, and then as we just showed you, he's got the breakaway speed once he gets in the open field. And I'm looking at his combine results. And this dude was insane.
They were crazy, dude.
10'4" broad jump, 36-inch vertical, a 4.36 short shuttle, and a 6.81 3-cone drill. Like that is insanity at any size, let alone that big, and essentially 6'3" and 230. That's insanity right there.
I was gonna say because he was
blowing the doors off of the combine. And he hasn't done more in this league it's got to come down to opportunity at this point. Because, like you said, after he left the Raiders, it just seems like nobody wants to put him on the field.
See, I mixed that up. That's what I was about to say.
maybe it's an attitude thing. That's like the only thing I'm just like looking at his production and his stats and
a lot of the guys at the Ravens have said,
squad.
Yeah,
the Broncos got him off of the New Orleans Saints practice
that's why I was
squad.
so hyped when you sent me that, when they picked him up. And I messed up, sorry.
And then they just picked up another kid, Marlon Mack. So they got 2 former 1,000-yard running backs off of people's practice squads.
Right.
So
and
keep giving it up to Peyton on snatching these guys up. But
I mixed it up.
I said are having a rough start. I believe they will get better. They have a lot of potential. Yes. You good over there?
Yeah, my internet's cutting out. You stop talking, and then I try to talk, and then you cut back in.
Oh.
So like if I'm interrupting, I'm sorry. My connection must be bad right now. But I did mess up. I said those years with the Ravens. I meant the Raiders. It was just the 1 year with the Ravens. I said Ravens.
I mean, you did play with the Ravens.
Yeah, that 1 year. But I meant when I was talking about the years I meant the Raiders.
Gotcha.
And I mean, like he put up great numbers with the Raiders.
My guy, so.
Yeah, but yeah, like you said, it was an attitude issue. But once he got to the Saints and the Saints is when his attitude really started to change. And that's why I was really happy when they picked him up, because I knew he was a hell of a player, but I didn't know how he was as a person anymore after those years with the Raiders, because the Raiders, that was a toxic front office in Oakland for all those years. And once he got to New Orleans, it was Sean Payton who kind of
the year that he took over for Alvin Kamara when Kamara was hurt.
Mm-hmm. And that was the year he started putting up numbers, and you could tell Payton was like talking him, like,
I think he got.
You got to be a better person
that year.
Yeah, and like he put up a good number for a team that made the playoffs. That was the year. Yeah, that was the year the Saints got knocked out by the Vikings in the wild card.
Yeah, that was the Marshawn Lattimore jumping too soon and allowing Stephon Diggs to take it like 80.
No, that was he was on that Vikings team. That was the year he was with the Vikings. That was the year they lost to them in the wild card to the push-off by Kyle Rudolph. That never happened.
Gotcha.
But no, Latavius, once he starts to learn the system more, I wouldn't be too worried about the running game. But it's the rest of the depth now, because they're probably going to lose Melvin Gordon by the trade deadline. They're probably going to ship him, right?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, every year up until now, Latavius Murray has not had less than 500 yards since his rookie season. So he can definitely add a boon. Marlon Mack, he was a 1,000-yard back just in 2019, just a couple of years ago. So while, yes, you want to put more bodies back there, I don't think that's what's going to fix it. What's going to fix it is this offensive line learning how to communicate, learning how to slide the protection. And that's where most of the issues come from, is the offensive line. They're picking the wrong guy to block, and they're leaving guys untouched, unabated.
And that's
not only to the quarterback, but to the running back. Like everybody talks about it with the way that they've just allowed free runners in passing situations. But it seems like nobody wants to talk about the free runners in the running situations. There's been multiple times that running backs have been met the moment that they get the ball from the quarterback. So number one thing is going to be settling this offensive line, because there are some more injuries that have happened. They just lost Cam Fleming for at least 4 to 6 weeks. You know, we already talked about how they lost Garrett Bowles for the entire season. Billy Turner just got back from injury. They've had Calvin Anderson has played both tackle positions. Dalton Reisner's been hurt. Quinn Miners has been hurt. Really, there's only been one starter from week 1 that has played every snap, and it's probably the worst player on the line, and that is Lloyd Cushenberry.
Cush, baby.
Yeah, he is the only starting offensive lineman from week 1 that has played in every single game.
And, I really wanted to talk about this because I saw some people talking about this online today. Didn't butt in, obviously, because no knowledge in their terms. But it was they're saying, the communication with the line's been awful since the injuries. And they go, not really. The line hasn't been that great all season. The communication, productiveness on the field, they were better earlier when everybody was healthy. But the communication still quite wasn't there. But this was before the injury, but then you add on all these injuries, you're putting in new guys, you're throwing them in new spots, new guys out on the field. Communication isn't going to get any better until they keep playing together. And that's just the rough part. That's just how it's going to be for probably the rest of the season.
Yeah. Yeah. That's something that I said on Twitter yesterday. The Broncos offense is bad. The defense is great. So Broncos country needs to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. They need to get comfortable with the ugly because these games are going to be ugly. There is no Prince Charming coming, princesses. That's not happening. There's no, white knight on a black steed coming to save the day. The Broncos have no draft capital. Nothing. Their first pick in the upcoming draft happens at this point. It'll be somewhere in about the middle to the beginning of the third round. That's the soonest the Broncos get a pick in this upcoming draft.
And
yes, you can start dipping into the next year and all that, and you can go full LA Rams and just F them picks if you want to. But with the way this roster is constructed, you're not going to be able to give up enough to get enough guys to make it as competitive as you want. Now, I will not sit here and say what so many others have said and say that this season is over. We are only halfway through. There's a lot of football to play.
We're not even halfway through.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we will be this week. We will be this week.
Yeah, this week is literally, we're literally in the halfway point after tonight. Tomorrow starts the
17 games.
Yes, we will be officially week 8 after tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So we are officially halfway through the season. As painful as that is to say, it's also, we still got half a season left, guys. So
there's a lot of room for improvement still, and I hate
extra
it does.
Card team.
It does get annoying saying that though. After a while,
yeah, it gets annoying that yes, things can turn around, but they can.
But
now,
exactly,
will they? We don't know. We don't know at this point.
Who knows?
There's way too many variables up in the air.
It could be till next year. Like you never know. Things could start clicking next year, and that's the case for some teams. I can't really name one off the top of my head. I was trying to I would have wanted to bring up Montana with the Chiefs, but he was just there for 1 year, wasn't he?
1 or 2? Yeah, he wasn't there very long.
I think he was there for 2 because their first year they didn't make the playoffs. If I'm not wrong, I could be wrong here, but from what I remember, I don't think they made the playoffs. And the next year is when everything started to click, and they made the NFC Championship, the AFC Championship game.
8-3, his first season, and then 9-5.
Yep. And no, they didn't make the. Did they make the AFC Championship game that year? It was divisional or championship game.
I can't remember exactly off the top of my head.
It was one of the two.
Way.
Yeah, so it was just like, even some of the greats take time at a new place. It shows with Montana.
Until
it showed with Brady. Hell, Brady struggled early on. They struggled early
for the
on.
First couple weeks, yeah. But everybody wants to try and put the barometer as like that's what the expectation is.
I hate that.
Those aren't. Those aren't. This Broncos roster is nowhere near what the LA Rams were last year or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
People forget how many
they have some
top tier players were on that team.
Sorry, what?
People forget how many top tier players were on that Bucks and that Rams team before they got Brady and Stafford.
Pro bowlers and all timers.
Those were those were teams that were a quarterback away. Technically the Broncos are a quarterback away, but they're younger than all these teams.
Right. Name one all-timer outside of Russell Wilson. Name one all-timer that's on this Broncos roster.
There's none.
Exactly. But you look at the Buccaneers, you got Brady, Gronk, Levante David.
Jason Pierre-Paul, Sue.
The names go on and on and on.
There's one.
The Rams. You got
the only one you can make a case for is Brandon McManus, but he's only been a Bronco. He's been a Bronco and was on that Super Bowl team, so it doesn't really count.
Right. Yeah. It's just this roster is not the same.
These are young guys.
The same kind of expectations as you did with those teams that were also had established head coaches. One was Bruce Arians in like his 15th season as a head coach, and the other one was Sean McVay after he had proven to be a great coach and already
took a team to a Super Bowl.
This is a completely new roster with completely new coaches that have completely new concepts. It's not the same thing.
And I hate when, especially in the media, people compare it like that.
Right. And yes, we were some of the people that were hyping up this Broncos team because, again,
how can you not?
Everybody was hyping up this team because of what they did. And this division, the division itself hasn't even been anywhere near what people thought they would be at this point, with two teams that are above 500, one barely, and then another two teams well below 500 and 3 games out of the division lead at this point. So we saw what everybody else saw. I don't remember anybody that was just sitting there like tempering the expectations for Russell Wilson outside of people that were just hating, that were saying he was washed up, that were saying that had
pretty much all those were Seahawks fans too,
was a product of his environment and stuff, that they weren't really looking at it through a lens of what this team could be. They were just using their own biases, and they got lucky that Russell Wilson got hurt. Mm-hmm. The only reason this team looks this bad at this point is because Russell Wilson got hurt. The first couple of weeks, you cannot sit here and lie to me and tell me that you didn't have hope for what this Broncos team could be.
Dude, that team
they could just score touchdowns.
If he didn't get hurt in that Raiders game, the Broncos win that game.
Yes,
I don't care what anybody says. That they were on a streak going, like they were hot in that first half.
The Raiders could not stop him until he got hurt.
Yeah. And it's the Colts is the same case because he was shorter week, Thursday night game.
And he was great until things started hurting.
Uh-huh.
That first half he was great.
And then he took the shot in LA. I almost said San Diego. He took the shot in LA, balled out in the first half. Obviously, I don't know if the medicine wore off or if something else happened. If you could just tell, if he could still just feel it. Who knows? Second half definitely was a drop off, and then you get the hammy injury coming in.
Yeah, so injuries are a huge thing, and since we're on injuries, Broncos lose starting left tackle Cam Fleming. He's been replaced by Calvin Anderson. He is out 4 to 6 weeks with a quad injury. Mike Boone is out a minimum of 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain, and we all know high ankle sprains are the worst. So really, honestly,
that's what got Jerry last year.
Do not expect to see Mike Boone for the rest of the year, or if you do, he is not going to be the same Mike Boone. High ankle sprains take forever to heal, and it usually takes about a year for you to get right back to where.
Well, that's what happened to Jerry last season.
Yes,
high ankle sprain in week 1.
Exact same injury. Then also the biggest one, Baron Browning, but thankfully. Looks like the hip flexor strain wasn't serious. He got an MRI, no structural damage. Just looks like a strain, but he's going to be out for at least a week.
And that does happen especially when you get out on that field quite a bit. And I mean, look at the production he was going. Look at how hard he was going. Eventually something was going to happen. I mean, it's just sad to say, but it's for any player in the league. You keep going as hard as you're going to go. And he's obviously been taking care of himself, but things add up over time. And I think that's what it was.
It was an awkward move. The injury happened on the Zach Wilson almost sacked like 5,000 of the game, where Russell Wilson not Russell Wilson.
Oh, dude, if they get him 5 out of those 20 times, the game's done.
I'm saying, dude. But it was the sack where it was the almost sack where all 5 pass rushers got through, and Zach Wilson juked out all 5 of them to get the ball off to his receiver. But it was just an awkward movement. He planted wrong and looked like his leg gave out a little bit when Zach Wilson juked him, and he was just down after that. But again, nothing serious. He has been, at very least, the second best pass rusher, and at times the best pass rusher on the field.
Honestly,
he has been an absolute revelation.
Besides Bradley Chubb from the beginning of the season, Bradley's still playing great. Don't get me wrong, But Baron Browning's just been playing on a whole nother level. That's nothing against Bradley, because Bradley's out there still just popping off, going hard.
Top tier.
But then you got Baron Browning coming out of nowhere this year. His first year as a pass rusher, by the way.
Right.
First year as a pass rusher.
Last year, people.
And in college.
Yeah. And, well, he was like a Micah Parsons.
He was a hybrid. Yeah, he was a hybrid.
But last year, he was specifically a middle linebacker. He did not rush the passer outside of some blitzes here and there. And that's where Peyton saw the potential. And then this defensive staff really saw the potential and, like, just committed, like, hey,
EJ Evero, man.
Good as a middle linebacker, but he could be great.
I want to give credit to EJ Evero for turning that man.
Yes. Yeah. Evero, Peyton, and that defensive staff need nothing but kudos for what they've done on that side of the ball. We just need Hackett and Outen and the rest of them to pick up the pace. But out of the three that I just mentioned that we lost, Fleming, Boone, and Browning, who is the biggest loss to you?
Baron. Oh, okay. So if I would say Baron Browning, if it was longer, 1 week, I don't think we're going to be shouldn't be too bad. Who's going to line up for him this week? Because Randy's not back yet.
Yeah, it'll be Benito.
But Nick Benito. Oh, see, great. Okay, good. Okay, see, I don't think it's the worst thing to happen.
Benito.
Yeah, due to injury, it'll be Benito. But I mean, it's just 1 week, right? So that's not the worst one. I think Mike Boone is the worst one.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Mike Boone is, I think, the one that's going to hurt the most. Because he was starting to finally hit his stride. He was finally starting to fit into the system even better. And we saw it with some of those big breakaway runs he had. Until
he's the only Broncos running back outside of Javonte Williams to average more than 3.5 yards per carry.
Yep. And I wanted to talk about, while we're on injuries real quick, I just saw this pop up. I opened my phone for a text and a video popped up on my Twitter feed. Did you see the Mike Williams cleat incident yesterday?
No, I did not.
So yesterday during the game, he went up for a ball, caught it, got his cleat stuck in the turf. Got brought down and jacked his leg up, bent awkwardly.
Eesh.
How is turf allowed? How is this still allowed?
We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now. Like,
this man could be they're looking at it. Some people say he could be gone for a while.
That thing could, like, the way you're describing it, that could be career ending. Depending
like
on,
they were looking at
like nerve damage or something that might happen. Like, man, like,
yeah,
let's just get rid of it. Stop it. And
I'm watching the video here, dude.
If you can't grow natural grass, you can't have an NFL franchise.
Yeah, it got. Sorry, I just saw it again. It got twisted, so it went like this. He got spun around completely, and then brought down. So yeah, he got spun around. So like he was like whole upper bodies spinned around, and then brought down, bent over on his back.
Oh God, Jesus! Ooh, eesh. No way.
Jesus, sorry, I just had to bring that up. I just saw that, and oh my God.
So, let's move on from that visual. Speaking of running backs and needing to be replaced, again, we lost Mike Boone, but the Broncos do have a replacement on way. He signed before the Broncos left for London today. Marlon Mack, former Indianapolis Colts 1,000-yard rusher from just 2019, was on the 49ers practice squad. Obviously, he's not getting any looks as they just traded for Christian McCaffrey. So their running back room is overfilled. So he comes over to the Broncos where he'll have a chance to get at least some touches. What can he bring to the roster?
Oh, I think he can bring quite a bit to the roster. I'm not saying he's going to be an impact right away, but over time, especially
the offense. So,
but I mean, like over time with this team, I think he's going to be utilized pretty well, especially because I'm getting the impression that Melvin's going to be gone by the trade deadline, which is coming up soon. It's coming up soon. What week is that? 9? Or is it during the bye week?
We got 8 days.
Yeah, so it's during the bye week.
Yeah, 8 days are left.
All right.
Next
so
Tuesday.
I bet you Melvin gets shipped off. Who knows where? And I think that what's his first name again?
Which one?
The back we're talking about. Yeah, back.
Marlon.
Okay.
Yeah, like Marlon Waynes.
I always forget. I knew Mac, but I always forget his first name. So yeah, but I think Marlon will be a pretty good fit once Melvin's gone, because I mean you're gonna have Latavius and Marvin. I mean, Marlon. Who else is going to be there? Who is the third string?
Is the only other running back left on the roster.
And a Zigbo. So there's going to be your 3 backs. Those are going to be your 3 backs activated. And obviously, I think all 3 of them are going to see some touches until somebody shows something.
Yeah, I think it's going to take the running back opportunities are going to be wide open for the rest of the year because the coaching staff has no trust in any of these guys. One, Melvin Gordon broke the trust on his own, and the other 2 guys are new. You can't trust somebody you don't know.
Latavius is slowly inching in. They've been starting to talk about him a little bit more.
He's gained a lot of trust early. He's gotten more touches in his first 2 games than any other running back on the roster. So
and
he came, and that might bode well for Marlon Mack too if he can come in and show he's still got some of that explosiveness. The thing I think
he's young. He's still young too.
A dimension that is lacking a little bit is he's a very good receiver out of the backfield.
Yeah,
and how about and isn't Marlon Mack from the University of Central Florida? I'm sorry, this just hit me. I got to check.
Wait, I think
a backfield that is nothing but Central Florida kids.
I think he is Central Florida.
Oh, South Florida.
Okay. Oh, so he was Southern Florida.
Yeah,
okay.
University USF, not UCF. I was like, I knew it was in Florida somewhere, but I wasn't sure. So yeah,
could you imagine?
The Broncos are really liking Florida running backs outside of Melvin Gordon because I think even Mike Boone's from Florida. Let me check and see, double check that one.
I got it. Mike Boone. All it shows is Baker County High School. Where's his Mike Boone?
Oh, he went to Cincinnati.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
He was there right before they got good.
Yes. right just before. But either way, like it just seems like be something about big Florida running backs that Peyton likes. They got, like I said, they signed Marlon Mack. They got Latavius Murray, Melvin Gordon sitting out there. I do agree with you. I think that his usage has been put down to avoid injury. I think they've used him enough over the last couple of weeks to show teams that he still has a little bit in the tank, so maybe they can maximize.
I mean, what would you give? What would you give away for him?
When it comes to Melvin Gordon, I think the best you could hope for is like a 4th rounder.
Yeah, see, I was thinking 4th, 5th.
Because I mean, you look at what Christian McCaffrey, the way they got him was a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and a 5th.
Which is crazy to me.
Right, but you're not going to get anywhere near that.
No.
For Melvin Gordon. So
no, you're getting the 4th, 5th at best.
Or a 5th.
Or somebody's desperate. Yeah, a 4th or a 5th.
Yeah.
Or if somebody's desperate, there's maybe you could get a very low 3rd round.
Maybe, yeah.
Or high 3rd round.
If there's a contender out there, like maybe like a Tampa Bay might be interested. That might be one that you might be able to squeeze a 3rd round.
I would say Tampa or Miami. Because I know Miami was looking to add some depth.
Yeah, they were. I think Melvin would be a good depth piece over there. Definitely a good 3rd down receiving blocking back to
and a short down back. If you have like a 3rd and 1, like that's what they utilize. I think I will give him props there. That's where they utilized him the best was on those 3rd and 1s. Unless if he didn't fumble.
Right.
When he held on to the ball.
If he could just hold on to the ball.
Yeah. But other than that, he was great on those 3rd and shorts.
Him gone.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing about Melvin Gordon is like his only problem is he can't hold on to the ball. Like if that wasn't the case, if he wasn't such a fumble risk, there's nobody in Broncos country that would be asking for him to go.
No.
He would be beloved in Broncos.
I would like him.
If he could just hold on to the ball.
You know what? I was happy with the signing. He played very good with his first season in Denver. And then that's when the fumbling started happening the 2nd season, 3rd season, this season. It just adds up. And I mean, even Hackett said it himself, and I like the way he said it. You know, you lose trust every time that ball hits the turf.
And if you can't trust your running back, it doesn't matter how good they are. You can't put them on the field because all those 30-yard gains are going to be nothing if every time it counts you're going to fumble it and give it back to the other team.
And that's why I'm excited for Marlon Mack, right?
Yes.
Like you said, he's a very good receiving back. And you know what he really reminds me of is that, like you said with the passing, that Christian McCaffrey receiving-esque type. I'm not saying he's Christian McCaffrey on every level, but on the receiving side,
he's a very versatile back.
Yeah, but on the receiving side, he reminds me of McCaffrey just a little bit. The way he puts the zip on the other team, the way he moves, his footwork is fantastic on the receiving end.
Yes, and he runs behind his pass. He runs with anger. He's a good-sized back. He's 6 foot 210. So like he's not giant like a Latavius Murray, but he's about the same size as Melvin Gordon. And this is another reason why I'm seeing the writing on the wall. The Broncos have their new thunder and lightning. They have Latavius Murray and Marlon Mack. Latavius,
dude,
Marlon
I just still can't believe.
Let Melvin go, maximize draft capital, and then another name that you can worry or look at possibly being moved, Albert O. I know Adam Schefter put out a whole article of a bunch of nothing, just essentially saying that, teams have called about the Broncos' top stars like Bradley Chubb and things of that nature.
I don't think they ship Bradley.
I mean, it's literally nothing. It's like, duh, people have called. That's what all GMs are supposed to do.
I mean, everybody's going to call for a player like a Bradley Chubb. See, what would it take? Just tease me. What would it take to get him?
That's what the whole this man wrote a whole article on that, on people calling and saying, "Hey,
it's like, do you remember what George Payton said
for this guy or that guy?" Like, no, duh. We all know they do that every single day.
One of my favorite GM
writing
videos.
An article about GMs doing their job.
Sorry,
that's insane to me.
My internet keeps just cutting in and out. You stop talking again, I start, then I'm interrupting you. But I was going to say, one of my favorite GM videos of all time was Behind the Broncos with George Payton. He goes,
pounding on your table to knock your camera out again.
It was already. I was trying to adjust it, and I unplugged it, and I slammed it, and it's been off, and I'm mad. But one of the greatest GM clips I've ever seen was George Payton on the Behind the Broncos during the draft when he got a call from a team. They didn't say what team it was, and they're just like, I'm going to see what they want, and then we'll go from there. And he goes, that's all you're going to give us? Good luck. And he just hung up.
Yep, exactly. It's like, I do not understand how people write. Like, how do you BS
Is it that slow of a news day?
Article like that?
Is it that slow of a news day? Like, what's going on?
Right. Like, are you running at... Like, you cover every...
Bro, trade deadline's coming up, and all you're talking about is
the best story you
teasing?
Can come up with out of 32 teams?
We're not going to talk about how... Even better, you could have talked about the Devontae Adams making sure you don't run into any cameramen on the way out of the game yesterday. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That was... Hey, he's got a sense of humor. I'll give him that.
Right. Not again. Not this time.
And you could tell he was sorry about that, I will say. You could tell he was just in his emotions when that happened.
Yes. So, since we're talking about other possibilities, other things happening on transactions, is there any other signings that we should worry about? I have reached out to our insider. He says at this time, nothing new. Nothing.
See, I was going to text you about that today.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about that, and then I was going to ask you for another reason because I saw an article, but then I read who the insider was, so I didn't text you because it was just a load of malarkey.
I got you.
So I was probably like, yo, did you hear from KJ about this? And then I was like, I should probably read this first and see who the insider was. I should be smart.
Always a good thing.
Yeah, I should be smart. I shouldn't just talk before I read.
No.
And then I read and I go, oh my God, I was going to text about this. I forgot the guy's name. It was just the guy that, I just saw it on Twitter. Some guy that always just posts stuff that never happens. It was the guy that said Christian McCaffrey was going to get traded to the Patriots 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Now they were going to give up 4 first-rounders for Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, Bill Belichick gave up all his first-rounders.
Hell no, dude. Bill Belichick loves his first-rounders.
He loves all.
And then he loves his Walmart receivers.
Right. He loves his Walmart receivers, and he loves his picks so he can take defenders in the first 3 rounds, even though he completely whiffs on his first
One of the
rounders.
best Belichick clips I think I've seen was at Bradley Chubb's pro day at NC State. And he's just having him do drills, and he goes, man, I love watching you play, but we're picking 31st. There's no way hell we're getting you.
Yep.
He's just like, I just wanted to see you work. Thanks for having fun with me, but we're not getting
Appreciate you. You know, I just wanted to work you out. You're great. Yep, I hear you. But speaking on that, I don't see Peyton going into a fire sale. As many as people like Predominantly Orange, Mile High Report, and all these other bloggers.
I never listened to any of those guys.
Yeah, and these local media pundits that want to sit here and scream that the Broncos should go out and trade. Why? Why would you go out and trade the few players that are really good on this roster when you have you now have a quarterback? Mm-hmm. It is now time to build around the quarterback. I don't care what your personal opinion is about Russell Wilson's personal life and his personality. None of that matters. All of you can shut up and go to hell. I don't care anymore. I'm so over hearing y'all talk about crap about the man's personality because you're too stupid to talk about the X's and O's.
That just shows you their personality too.
Actually give real analysis. So miss me with all that BS. Russell Wilson needs to be built around. So no fire sale, no sending off Bradley Chubb, no sending off.
There's no way in hell they're sending off Bradley Chubb, and if they do, I'm riding.
Right.
I bought that man's jersey his rookie season. There's no way in hell you're trading him, dude.
Like, I mean, I get where they're trying to,
No, but you could look at options.
At the fact that he's in the last year of his rookie deal. Yeah. So, like, I don't care. You keep him here and you re-sign him. You lock him up. That way you have him and Gregory as your bookends.
Because this is his fourth season.
And all the rest of these guys as the backups. You build around Russell Wilson. You don't fire sale around Russell Wilson.
His fifth season. Technically, I'll give him his fourth since he was hurt for pretty much all of the 2019 season. He's still technically of his fourth season. Even though he played in, 3-4 games in 2019, and he was putting up numbers in those games. Obviously, that injury hurt.
Last 2 years, Bradley Chubb has played something like 18 to 20% of the possible.
But his best season since his rookie was his 2020-2021 season. But now, honestly, he might even have a better season than his rookie season this year, the numbers he's been putting up so far.
Last I checked, he was third in the league in sacks. I will double check to see where he sits now.
And that's kind of funny that I say that. Like, technically, he's played 4 seasons. There's somebody, one of the announcers yesterday, I don't remember who made the point, was saying when they were talking about Zach Wilson, that last week technically was his 17th game. So now he's not a rookie, and I liked how they talk about that.
Micah Parsons is absolutely insane.
Michael Parsons is an animal.
He's tied for the league lead in sacks with 7.
Dude, that man, as much as I would have loved to get him, I'm still happy with
6 sacks.
Dude,
Khalil Mack got 6. Old men are starting to find a second win.
Right? Like, and when I was sitting there watching, when they signed Vaughn to his 6-year contract, I was sitting there going, okay, I wonder how productive he'll be in those years. So far, you're getting your money's worth so far. Who knows in the next few seasons? But I think Vaughn might see out that 6-year contract before he retires.
It's a possibility. I mean, the man's always taking care of himself, so as long as he stays healthy. But Bradley Chubb, he's dropped to 11th, but he's a half a sack behind Von Miller, who is tied for 4th.
Right.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 guys tied at 4 with 6.
And that just shows you how defensive heavy this season is.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the – oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
This is probably one of the most defensive seasons we've seen. Like, am I wrong? Like, in the recent years, like the past few years, I feel like defense has just been more fun to watch than offense.
It depends on the matchup and things of that
nature.
Yeah, definitely. Defenses have started to figure out some of these other some of these offenses. And another thing that's not talked about enough is some of the tweaks that have been made to some of these, like the targeting rule and pass interference and stuff. The small tweaks the NFL has made on some of their rules is starting to allow defenses to start actually winning on the field.
Yeah.
Actually being able to do things other than just watch offenses rack up 40, 50 points.
Because that was the annoying part of the NFL for quite some time. I mean, even those years with the Legion of Boom and the no-fly zone, those were
They
still
were the
offense.
only ones.
Those were the only ones, right? The rest were offensive teams. That was still when offense was. I mean, that was probably the prime thing to use. The meta is a Dota term.
Yeah, but now you have the Broncos who have given up 7 touchdowns in 7 games. You have the Cowboys who have given up 8 touchdowns in 7 games. You have the Eagles who have given up 9 touchdowns.
That is a underappreciated defense that nobody's been talking about. Is that
Dallas
Eagles
and
defense?
Philadelphia? Yes. Both of those defenses have won some fantasy games for some folks. The defenses across the board really, I think, have taken a step up. Scoring has been down. It's still, only halfway through the season. Who knows what happens in the second half? Mm-hmm. But this might be one of the lower scoring seasons in the NFL over the last decade or two.
And I mean, while we're on this topic too, I mean, while we're talking league, I just want to say, how about New York football this year? What is going on?
Bro, it's insane. It's this is what happens when you have teams that are bad for so long. Eventually, you're going to not suck in the draft. Eventually, you're going to get lucky, and those lottery tickets that you keep buying every year, you're going to get lucky and win one every once in a while. And you're starting to see that. You're starting to see that with the Giants. And
Jets, I couldn't be happier for?
Where their first-round picks are finally starting to do some things. But we're getting late into this, so we really need to get on to the next game. We are already at almost an hour, and football is about to start on Monday night. So Denver flies across the pond to face the Jags. The Jags defense has been looking legit. Trevor Lawrence is starting to look like the number 1 overall pick. Travis Etienne's starting to show why they picked him in the first round. So is this Jags team for real on the upswing?
Sorry, am I on? My cam on?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, there we go. Okay, no, this Jags team is starting to look legit. Don't let their record fool you.
Yes.
And that can be said for both sides of the ball. Both sides.
Both teams,
on the team.
yes.
Don't let the record fool you.
That was going to be one of my points.
Don't let the records fool you for both of these teams. This is going to be I will say this will be a fun football game. Yeah. And these are both teams that are starting to find their strides. Obviously, Jacksonville's found theirs a bit more. I think they have a bit of the edge on offense going into this game because we're not still 100% if Russ is going to play yet.
Yeah, we don't know who the quarterback is.
It still could be Brett, but right. But you look at it, I still see if Brett Rippon goes out there, I still think we have the same chance of winning as if Russ is on the field. Okay, no, maybe Russ edges him just a little bit.
Gotcha. Okay,
but
go ahead.
But the defense it's going to be another defensive game like the Jets game. People can talk about how bad the offenses were in those games, but they don't talk about the defense. No. I hate when people talk about how bad offenses were. Bad. Yeah. Yes. I hate when they say the offenses are that bad. Even if they are that bad, defense gets zero credit. And that starts to annoy me. They finally started talking about the defense for the Broncos this week. I finally started seeing ESPN, NFL Network, all these guys start finally talking about the defense going, oh, that's why offenses have been bad against the Broncos. It's not because they're just bad.
An average of 1 touchdown a game. Yeah.
Not because this offense is bad, it's because they're playing against the third best defense in the league.
Think about that. The defense has allowed 1 touchdown
per game.
Per game. And they're 2-5.
And it just shows you these games have all been winnable.
Every one
and people don't want to talk about these games have been winnable. They just see the loss.
Yep. Exactly.
So it just shows you this team.
Just want to jump on Nathaniel Hackett. At this point, it's just jump on Nathaniel Hackett. Palooza.
Right.
At this point. Just everybody. Even I posted it up. I think it was about a week and a half ago, where Luke Wilson, the tight end nobody knows about.
Yeah.
You saw that? Okay. The surfer bro talking about I love to jump. Why? You've never played for Hackett. You never played on a team that had a Hackett offense.
Right.
Why do you love to jump on Hackett? Oh, that's right. because it's easy to grab the low-hanging fruit than actually spend the hours and the effort to watch film and break it down, watch the all 22, as opposed to just watching the game live on Sunday and then making some prognostications off of what you feel that you saw instead of verifying it.
Back to the game. Now I'll give you my prediction now that my rant's over. Honestly, this game's going to be close. I bet you this game's going to be pretty close. It's going to be hard-hitting defense, and offenses looking to find their stride. Now, depending on who's quarterback for both teams. Or, no, wait. Trevor Lawrence is starting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything otherwise.
Yeah. Okay, Trevor Lawrence is starting, but depending on who the quarterback is for Russ, if it's Russ or Brett Rippon, it's going to be close no matter what. So, both going to be very winnable. I think the Broncos pull through with this last second field goal. And I think it's going to be Broncos win this game 17-14.
Yeah. I know I don't have let me preface this. I have no knowledge to say that this is for definite, but to me, Russ doesn't need to play.
Yep.
He should not play regardless. I don't care how good he's feeling. Give him another week. Give him the bye. That's 3 weeks to let him rest up and let him come back after the bye as rested and ready as possible. So I say let Brett rip it, and it will be close. It will be a defensive game. It will come down to, just like this last game is, who makes the mistake? Is it Trevor? Is it Brett? Unfortunately, this past week it was Brett. Maybe this week it won't be Brett. Maybe it will be Trevor, and this defense will ball out. The Broncos will not get blown out at any point this season. I will sit down and I will say that now. Y'all can record it. Y'all can wait it. Come back at me. The Broncos will not get blown up because this defense is too damn good. And they are going to win a game, at least a game for the Broncos. And I think it is this game right here in London, going all the way across the pond. So I do believe that with Brett Rippon, it's going to be close. This one, I think the Broncos win 17-14. All
right, so we got the same.
Yep.
All right, I'll take it. But yeah, I was going to say real quick about Brett. Honestly, I think if he does play this week, he's going to be a lot more comfortable coming into this game. Now that you got a game under your belt, sure, it wasn't that great, but now you got time to work on it. Now you're granted you're going to be in London, but you're going to adjust to London time. That's the advantage. Yep, that's the advantage and the disadvantage for both teams.
I think they're still in the air as we speak, but they
should definitely still are. I was going to say, but that's going to be the difference for both these teams is you're got to get used to your where you're at, new time zone, and
it's a lot like when teams come here to Denver. Yeah, you're switching elevation, major time zones, all that stuff. But that's why I'm saying right now the Broncos need to be giving Brett as many reps as possible, so that way he's as ready as
honestly.
possible.
You let Brett rip it with the first team during practices, and then you let Russ go out there and be limited on first team, and then let him throw it with second team.
I agree. Yeah, let him hit up the practice squatters off on the side, whatever the case may be. Let him rest. Keep him off of that hamstring as much as possible. Let that show. Let minimum throw. That's why I'm saying let Brett is like every throw he makes, practice or game wise, he's not letting the shoulder heal. So the less reps he gets is actually better for his health. It might not be better for the team necessarily, but it's better for Russ, which will then eventually, in the long run, be better for the team.
Exactly. So, you said it best.
Let Brett rip it. Let Russ sit on the sidelines and do his thing.
I like Brett. I like the way he threw the ball. Maybe he did overthrow quite a bit.
That actually believed he could beat Josh Johnson, and I was one of the few that actually.
Hey, I said it too. Screw you.
Yep, one of the few, two of the few, right here. Exactly. So we believe in him. We think he can get the job done when he needs to. I don't want to see.
He has before. He did before.
We're not those guys. We're not looking for the replacement of Brett over Russ. We just think that for this week, the best quarterback.
Who knows if he airs it out and tosses some touchdowns this week? No, I'm joking.
Right. We got one last. Oh man, it's so infuriating. We got to see. I want to see 3 touchdowns. I know I only said 17-14 because that's what I believe, but I want to see 3 at least.
Right.
That would be nice. We haven't seen more than 2.
Hey, two passing, 1 rush.
Yeah, two with the. Or no, we did get 3. We got 3 against the Raiders. I almost forgot. We did get 3 against the Raiders.
Oh, and it was that dime to Court in the back of the end zone.
One of them. 2 passing and 1 rushing. All 3 by Russ.
Hey, and
Russ had the rushing touchdown and both passing touchdowns.
I know we're over a little bit. So this is real quick, but how about Greg Dulcich, man?
Boy has got 11 catches in 2 games. Guess who's on my bench in my paid league? Because I'm about to trade Mark Andrews because I need another running back.
yeah, you need another running
how about that? I was able to snatch up Greg Dulcich, and now I'm going to trade Mark because I got Mark Andrews and Kyle Pitts, even though I can't. Kyle Pitts is worthless in a trade. So if anybody's watching from my paid league, Mark Andrews is available for a quarterback and a running back. Let me know.
All right.
But, I think this is a good place for us to leave it here. As always, the Breakin Broncos podcast. I'm your host, Dan Wedstein. That's Dylan Miles. We are here every Monday, 5 to 6 p.m. We got Nug Life, Sasquatch Says every week. Nug Life with me in Santiago. Sasquatch Says with me in Cali whenever the EMS gods want to let her. But make sure you check us out. We got an ever-growing library of podcasts. Also, I want to let y'all know, because we are officially live on it, we are on the Let's Talk Sports Network on Roku. Smart TVs everywhere. If you have a Roku, if you have a smart TV, you can get us on your TV on the Let's Talk Sports Network. If you go to our Twitter, you can find them, at Let Talk Sports. This is their official Twitter page. You can go there, find out all the information of the best way to get their dang it, my voice is dying on me. I gotta go. Sorry, guys. But go to them. That guy's name is Dan, too. So it's another Dan. Dans are great. So go talk to Dan at Let's Talk Sports. He'd love to give you all the information on his network. He has over 23,000 followers on Twitter. He has over 2,000 followers on YouTube, and so on and so forth. So another big platform we're on, but it changes nothing here. The only thing we've done is I've given them the permission to use our content on their platform. Everything else stays the same. It's all us. As you see, you don't see any of their branding or anything. It's all us. It's just another way for us to get you the content you deserve. So go check it out. All the links of all of our socials are in the description. Make sure you click on them, like them, subscribe, share them with your friends, tell them, hit all the red buttons, launch the nukes, clear the way so we can bring you the news and information you deserve the way you deserve it. So for the answer is 42, don't question the blue.